Hi again, everybody. Today we are going to tackle something that I talk about a lot on the channel, and that is compassion. So let's all have a bit of a break from whatever it is we're doing. Take a few quiet minutes, maybe a nice big cup of tea, so we can just take some time for ourselves and our own well-being. So what is compassion? What exactly is it? What are we talking about here? Well, we might have some ideas that compassion is just kindness or sympathy or maybe being nice to people, other people out there. And those are the sorts of things that may immediately come into our minds when we begin to think about compassion. But I want to start by making a clear definition of what compassion is from the point of view of a psychological practitioner and in the context of compassion focused therapies, things like acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, or mindful self-compassion, therapies like that. So I want to begin with a definition from the Buddhist tradition that we can attribute to the Dalai Lama from his wonderful book, and I will put the reference for that in the description. And what he says is that compassion is a sensitivity to suffering in self and in others, with a commitment to try and alleviate and prevent it. So we've got a couple of things going on here that are specific. First, we've got the awareness of suffering, but not just when we look outward to others, but also awareness of our own suffering. Having awareness of our own suffering might be something that it would seem very obvious to us all, but it can actually be quite tricky for us sometimes to cognitively recognize and be aware that we are actually suffering. What can often happen there is that we switch straight into problem-solving mode or crisis management mode if we don't take the time to pause and just be aware there of our own pain, of our own suffering. The second thing that we've got going on here in our definition from the Dalai Lama is the idea that compassion isn't just an abstract mental construct. It is also an action or a verb. It's something we go out and we physically do in the world. For people who are naturally inclined to be nurturing and caring, sometimes maybe even a bit selfless, people who are like that can find this really easy to relate to when it comes to behaving compassionately towards other people in their lives and around them. But things can become a little bit more challenging, even for the most compassionate person, when it comes to them being compassionate to themselves and turning that around. But in the Buddhist tradition, when we look at something like the Golden Rule, which is common to lots of philosophical and ethical and spiritual ideas, this idea of treating others as we would wish to be treated. What we also have to do here is to include ourselves in this equation, in this balanced equation. So being kind to ourselves as we are to others, being fair to ourselves as we are to others, and being understanding and patient with ourselves as we are to others. No more, no less. Our compassion for ourselves should equal the compassion that we share with the world in this Buddhist tradition. And we set aside this skewed and imbalanced view that self-sacrifice and kind of martyring yourself in the name of compassion is what quantifies this. That's something that we don't accept as a truth when we look at this definition. So finding awareness of the suffering in our own experience is as important as noticing the suffering in others and in the world around us. When we're able to find that awareness in our own suffering, then we find ourselves in a great place where we're able to be kind and patient and understanding to ourselves too. And once we're able to practice self-compassion, then we're able to self-soothe. We can comfort ourselves in the moment and show ourselves understanding and care when life does not go the way we would have hoped or expected it to, when the top comes off the mountain. So the great news is here that anybody can learn to be self-compassionate, even though for a lot of us it can be something new or not something that we find naturally easy, depending on our life experience or sometimes how we were raised. Because for most of us, no one sits us down as a child and teaches us self-compassion, do they? And we certainly don't learn about it in school. But anybody can learn this stuff, and it's certainly worth the effort, because self-compassion is an extraordinarily powerful tool, not just for self-care, but also for self-growth. And it can help you to find this strong and stable core of inner strength as you go about your daily life. So this is how we define compassion in Compassion Focused Therapies, and I hope this video has given you the opportunity to just take a moment and reflect on what compassion means to you, what your lived experience is of it, how you incorporate it into your life every day. If you enjoyed this video or you have something to share with others, just put that in the comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe for more psychologically informed content to help support you and your well-being and your health and your happiness. Thank you for joining me again. I will see you next time.